Hi everybody, my name's David Brennan with Safety Evolution. Today I want to chat with you a little bit about asset and equipment inspections. Some of the challenges that we see are that a lot of workers are given this big long inspection document, and then they're asked to go and do an inspection on a piece of equipment, and lots of the information is not relevant. So a good example would be you're doing a daily pre-check, and then there's a bunch of stuff about weekly and monthly checks on it. So we wanted to chat today about some of the things that you can do when you're building your new asset inspections, or if you're revamping your system, some things to take into consideration, because we have a really cool opportunity to be able to help our workers, first of all, do better inspections, and also give us more detailed and better information coming back from them when those are actually done. And this is going to keep your equipment running longer. It's going to have less breakdowns. You're going to capture more, and you're going to be able to look at costs and all kinds of cool stuff. So as you guys all know, I worked in oil and gas as a safety professional for a very long time. And while I was in that role, had the pleasure of creating lots of preventative maintenance and equipment inspections and programs like that. And some of the big things that I always looked out for were ways to make sure that my team, first of all, could do those inspections the way they were intended, and that we were getting the end results. So these are the 5 things that I would highly recommend that you look at anytime you're re-optimizing or you're building a new inspection document for your team. The first one that you want to start with is your manufacturer's recommendations. In your owner's manual, you're going to see, probably right near the very front of it, there'll be a list of all the inspections, when they need to be done, who needs to do them, and what needs to be checked. And so this is an excellent place to start, but make sure that this isn't the only place that you go for what needs to be inspected. Once you've created your list of types of inspections that you need and who will be inspecting it, then we're going to look at frequency. So frequency is an interesting one, because frequency could be hours, it could be months, days, it could be kilometers, and it really depends on the piece of equipment. It also depends on your legislation. It could also depend on your safety manual requirements. So keep on keeping that all in mind. Make sure that you're able to say, okay, we're going to need a pre-use inspection on this piece of equipment, and this is what the user manual says we have to check. This is what our safety manual says we have to check. And this is what our regulatory body says we have to check. So once you have those 3, then you also have to think of this, because when we're creating these inspections, we have to remember who's actually filling out the inspection, right? You could have a worker who's just using that piece of equipment for the day. You could have a mechanic if you were running something like a crane or a man lift that's going to have boom inspections. There's all kinds of different types of inspections there. So we need to make sure that when we're creating our inspection documents, that we know who it's actually designed for and who will be filling it out. And then the next one is to make sure that we're keeping it simple, right? One of the big problems, and I touched on it before, is that we have these inspection documents, and it covers your daily pre-use, it covers your weekly, your monthly, covers all kinds of information. And when a worker's filling it out, there's actually 4 or 5, 10 sections in there that aren't even applicable to what they're doing. And this really leads to a lot of complacency in our forms. The other piece, and we understand this, and this is a big challenge with running a paper-based program, is that you also have to print all these inspection documents out. So again, this would be a great time to move into a software that allows you to be able to have multiple inspections tied to an asset. So keep that in mind when you're creating them. Make sure they're simple enough for your team and they're actually detailed and specific for your team so that they can fill them out quickly and efficiently. And the final piece for our asset inspections is making sure that we have a strong corrective action workflow. So corrective actions are going to be created off any of the deficiencies. And when we look at corrective action workflows, one of the big things that I used to audit for when I worked on the client side on our contractors programs was to be able to see, are you following up on your corrective action? How are you following up on it? And who's getting them and how are you documenting it? So those are the 5 pieces that you really, really have to watch and make sure that whenever you're putting together a new inspection document or you're redoing your existing program. So those are all 5 of the things that we need to look at. One of the big things that we do see is that a lot of people think that we can create one inspection document that's going to allow us to be able to do the inspections on that piece of equipment or multiple pieces of equipment. This can create a lot of issues for you as a company because you're just not going to get good inspections done. So taking the time to actually create specific inspections for each different requirements on the asset and the time frame and frequency is really, really important for you to have a strong asset inspection or equipment inspection program. So as a recap, what you want to make sure you're doing is that you're covering your manufacturer's recommendations, your legislation, and your safety programs requirements, that you are making sure your frequency is done and that you have an inspection that's specific for each of those. Make sure that they're simple and easy to use and designed for the person that will be actually filling them out. Keep them simple and make sure that you have a strong corrective action system that you are capturing and in place so that you can prove in an audit that you're doing what you need to do. So I wanted to touch on some stuff for you at the very end here. This can be a really daunting program to have in place. Creating multiple inspections, having them all printed, having the corrective action workflows, being able to follow up and do all this work is a huge amount of work for any safety professional to do. One of the really amazing things about safety management software like ours here at Safety Evolution is that we allow you to have 10, 15 inspection forms easily accessible for a worker on an asset. We allow you to have corrective actions that are automated and automatically go out to your workforce. And it simplifies this process immensely for you and allows it to be a manageable activity. So jump on a call with one of our sales reps and see what we can do for you and how we can simplify your life. Have a great day.